It will always seem very curious to me how they sell seafood in this country. It's good here because this isn't a restaurant, but rather they focus on cooking what people buy at the seafood market. Oh, our fish is going to fall. It's getting worse, Fur.
Ouch, ouch!
Good morning and welcome to another day of cycling around the biggest island in all of China. Today we're leaving the city of Wenchang, which we haven't been able to escape for the last 3 days because it's so big. And today we're planning to do 42 kilometers to the next checkpoint on the route. Its name is unknown. What's there? That's also unknown. Because these are small places that don't necessarily appear in travel guides. That's precisely the point of traveling by bicycle. You never know what you're going to find. Today we left a bit late. In fact, it's 12 o'clock. But the thing is, last night we were kicked out of the area where we were camping. At 11:30 at night, a motorcycle showed up honking loudly and shouting, "Get up everyone, take down those camps, this is not a camping area, everyone out." And well, people got scared. There are kids and everything. The strangest thing is that he wasn't even a police officer or a government agent or anything. He was just an ordinary person. But to avoid any trouble, we decided to leave. Then Noelia found a hotel that was nearby. Fortunately, we were able to check in, but we ended up sleeping around 1 or 2 in the morning because by the time we packed up the campsite and everything, it got late.
It's worth mentioning that we weren't the only ones camping there.
Yes, there was another group of people camping there, and actually the reason we didn't make a fuss was because the Chinese people just left like it was nothing. And honestly, Chinese people aren't really the type to fight. Here, people really respect the rules and it's rare for them to argue with any figure of authority. So everyone left and we just said, let's do what they do.
But anyway, that doesn't change the fact that today we still have to do our kilometers for the day.
Call me crazy, but I feel like I'm passing through the same town as about 3 days ago. I even saw the abandoned police station, but Noelia says there's no way because we're going in a completely different direction. But suddenly it really does look like a copy-paste. I could swear we've been here before.
No, we're heading south, so it's impossible that we've passed through here. But what Max and I were just discussing a little while ago is, if there's a coastal highway, why did it take us away from the coast right now?
I think it's so it doesn't get too repetitive because maybe...
Yes.
The island road is impressive, offering views of the beautiful coastline. But so you can get to know the towns around because at the end of the day we're still on the outskirts of the island.
And it's the official route, the roads are amazing, everything looks great here.
The bullet train passes through there.
How about that, huh?
That's wild, right? You're in the bicycle town and suddenly the bullet train speeds by at 350 kilometers per hour. Our climb's starting already? This early? We've only gone 9 kilometers. Come on, pick up the pace, buddy. Now this is where you really pick up speed. Happy 300 kilometers. Finally, we've reached the first 300 out of the 980 something kilometers there are. But obviously, the route doesn't take into account all the detours we've made to visit some places. So I estimate it's going to be a little more than 980 kilometers, probably over 1,000, but we'll see. It's incredible how much fireworks they set off during Chinese New Year. It must be millions and millions of yuan spent on fireworks. On the way, we've noticed that most of the towns we've passed are covered with these little red papers from the fireworks. And according to Chinese New Year tradition, there used to be a monster called Nian that would come every year to torment people during this time. However, this monster was afraid of 3 things: the color red, loud noises, and fire. And what has all 3 of these qualities? Fireworks. Therefore, the legend says that the locals started experimenting with bamboo tubes filled with gunpowder and would set them off during this time. And eventually these bamboo tubes became what we now know as fireworks or pyrotechnics. That's why you're seeing that the whole city or the whole town, because these are towns and counties, are surrounded by red and they don't clean it up for several days. Interesting things you find along the way. Here they just set off a whole box of fireworks and you can tell the paper is a much brighter red. But look, the whole village is full of it. That's crazy. I can't imagine cleaning up this mess. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if they actually clean it up. Maybe they just leave it there until it breaks down or the wind takes it away. You definitely don't see this in big cities, at least not in urban areas.
Well, it's already 1 in the afternoon. We've been pedaling for a little over an hour and we're taking our first rest stop. We've already done about 17 kilometers. And since we found this little coconut stand, we thought, well, let's take advantage of it. The only thing is, I have no idea where we are. Excuse me, ma'am, where are we?
Sorry?
What is this place?
Haiwan County.
Haiwan County. I think this is one of the counties that was recommended on Chinese social media to see the Chinese New Year festivities, and honestly, I'm not surprised. Look, everything is covered in red paper. Say hello, little friend.
Hello? I use this camera too.
Do you like making videos?
A little.
How did you learn English?
My teacher teaches me.
At school?
Yes.
Do you speak English? And you?
Nope, I don't understand.
Only she can? Is she his daughter?
She is my granddaughter.
How smart. Very smart. Her English is very good.
Just a little.
No, I think she's doing very well.
Really?
Seriously, she's 12 years old and already talks to us in English and everything. That's unusual on this island. In fact, it's even rare for people to speak good Mandarin here. Because they understand it perfectly, they can communicate, but many of them don't speak what we could call standard Mandarin. Did you already get your red envelope?
Yes!
Can I see it? Ah, how beautiful. This is very beautiful. We are witnessing a very interesting phenomenon because we stopped at the little store and started talking with the people, and suddenly a bunch of kids and more people started coming out to see what was going on. And they already told me that they're all family, that they came back for Chinese New Year and they're doing something called Bai Nian. Which means that in the first days of the year you have to go visit all your relatives. So for example, on the first day I visit everyone. I go around the whole village visiting my relatives and giving out the red envelopes that I'm holding in my hand. On the second day, well, my uncle goes around to everyone, the village visiting each and every one of their relatives. And that's how it goes on, and the children keep collecting money. How much do they usually give the children?
About 100 to 200 yen.
100 to 200 yen. They give them between 100 and 200 yen per child.
That's a lot of money.
Exactly. So if there are like 20 kids in your family, it gets expensive. So if there are like 20 in your family, it gets expensive. Exactly. So if there are more kids, you spend more money.
Yes.
We did this once when we spent Chinese New Year in Sichuan, remember? We went to visit the relatives.
It was to the ones at the farm?
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Goodbye, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
How nice they are.
How cool. We came to buy water and ended up making friends. We're going to do 40 kilometers today, and I don't understand why the coconut forest stopped since we're passing through something quite similar here. It's very beautiful too. We even passed what looked like a field of agave or something like that, so the stop at the forest doesn't really make much sense. But, well, it was interesting and now it's recorded so you can decide if you want to go or not, but we should be close to today's stop already. Well, we must be getting close because there are a lot of cars and cyclists passing by here. We've even found cyclists going in the same direction as us. That's something new. Until now, we always saw them passing on the other side. I guess this must be the place. Is it here, Noelia?
No.
Haven't we arrived?
No.
So, do people only stop here for the beach or what?
Well, to hang out, I guess.
It's nice. Ah, well, it's because the Dakadian is there, and look, most of the vendors come in campers. They sell ice cream, they sell food and more. There was a really beautiful beach back there, but I don't know if it's really worth stopping because it's packed. In fact, we've already biked almost 1.5 kilometers past the beach, and there are still cars parked on the sides of the road because there's no space back there anymore. That's what happens if you come during Chinese New Year. I think we should keep going since we still have 5 kilometers left and it looks like it might rain. We're arriving at a pier that's very famous on the official route. We didn't make this up, and the area looks really beautiful, but there's a lot of traffic. By a lot of traffic, I mean that not even bicycles can get through. Let's stick close to this motorcycle, come on, otherwise we'll be stuck here all day. It must be a really beautiful place because there are so many tourists, and the fish market is packed.
We just arrived at the place where we're going to spend the night. We're now in Tanmen, which is a town of 30 to 40,000 people. It's very impressive because it has the largest and most important fishing port on the entire island of Hainan. In fact, it's considered a first-class fishing port because of its tonnage and its different logistics and technology. And not only that, but this port has been active for 1,000 years. The families who live here have been fishermen for generations and generations. To the point that they have a book called Geng Lubu. And it's not a map, but rather a compilation of notes that describe navigation routes in written form. This is a tradition that has been passed down from generation to generation. And it's one of the reasons why this is one of the official stops on our route.
Well, as Noelia mentioned, people come here to see the fishing port, but I'm impressed because I already did a bit more research on the internet. And apparently, the famous place is precisely this street, which is the one we arrived on yesterday, and you can't imagine how much traffic there is here. Even on a bicycle, it's hard to get through. We have to squeeze between cars and everything, and it's really beautiful. The view is spectacular. But I do wonder if all these people come just to try the local food and to take a picture with the boats.
Something that surprises me is that the buildings on this street are super renovated and new.
Yes, they are very renovated, and it's the same. It's like a European style. It predominates in the port cities of Hainan.
And if I got $1 for every firework I've heard today?
And yesterday and in the early morning too.
We'd be rich.
The owner of the hotel already explained to us that it's a tradition, that during the first days of the year they always have to set off fireworks to scare away evil, so we're already getting used to it. He sees the entrance and exit of the city. You can't. And what kind of attraction can we expect from a fishing village? Of course, abandoned boats, and most importantly, the seafood market. We already saw one in Putian, but this one is much bigger and has more variety. I always find it very interesting how they sell seafood in this country, because Chinese people like freshness. And there's nothing fresher than selling them alive. In fact, many people take them home alive in little bags, while others prefer to have them filleted right here. What I find interesting is that many of these people are tourists, and I wonder where they cook their fish. I don't know if they take them to restaurants or if they prepare them for you right here, but supposedly here you can get anything much cheaper than in the big cities. So people take the opportunity to have a feast. Let's say it's like being in a factory store or a seafood outlet. Oh, look at that curious crab. If we buy a fish here, how do we cook it?
There are people who will prepare it for you.
Don't they have restaurants here?
Only the ones over there. That one only cooks the food you buy at the market.
Don't they sell?
No, they only cook it for you.
Then we can buy calmly. I just don't know which fish.
Here you have snails and shrimp.
I know those. But what about the fish?
Fish. 还有这种是海梅.
What's the local specialty?
海梅.
Kaimei.
It's a fish that comes from Xisha Island.
Is Xisha an island?
Yes.
How much is that one?
This one costs 180 per fish.
Alright, give me 2. Is that enough for both of them?
You can buy something else.
Well, let's try with this one first. You're not going to kill it, are you?
They'll kill it for you right there.
Alright, understood. They're dozing off in the bag.
Ah, I'm so sorry.
Why did we pick that? Because she suggested it, right? I asked her about the local specialty and she said it was that.
But it's something very interesting because one of the things I found about this place is that it's also famous because in this part of the country, the fishermen go to deeper waters and get farther from the island, even getting close to 2 different islands. Is that where this fish comes from?
It's nice here because this isn't a restaurant, but rather they focus on cooking what people buy at the seafood market. Because as I was saying, most of the people here are tourists, so they don't have a kitchen or a place to cook their fish. And do they do it especially for you?
How does it work?
Who knows? You bring your fish and they cook it there.
Hello? How does this work?
Which fish?
No idea.
Kaimei.
Kaimei?
And how is it prepared?
Steamed.
Steamed.
It's delicious.
How much do you charge?
That would be 21. Is this all you're eating?
Yes.
We have veggies and rice. Want some?
Yes, please.
You can also have shrimp or crab.
I only eat fish. Do you recommend any?
This girl will go with you to buy it.
As long as it's fish, it's all good.
Here are 2.
Is that enough?
Did you say you don't eat crab?
Are crabs the ones that move like this?
That's right.
I'm allergic.
I'll go with you to get another fish.
She's going to help us pick one because I have no idea.
Hello.
Hello, I want to buy some fish.
I have this one and the tiger grouper.
Tiger grouper.
Tiger grouper.
Oh, tiger?
Yes, tiger grouper.
Which one is more delicious?
The other one is a bit better.
How much does this one cost?
65 win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
7.
This one costs 65 yuan.
6. Wow, I was surprised by your English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And this one here costs 90 yuan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
90.
Yes, 90 yuan.
Ma'am, what do you think?
That one over there?
Is this the right one?
Yes.
I'll give it to you for 90 yuan since we're friends.
Of course we're friends.
High five.
90 yuan, 9 and 0.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you!
Give me your hand.
Enjoy your meal, Happy.
Thanks to you.
Happy.
Give me 5.
Time to eat. See you next time.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. May you become rich.
You too!
Cooking this costs 36 win.
Understood, no problem.
He almost scared me to death.
Why do you speak Chinese so well?
Your Mandarin is very good.
No, I'm still studying.
Do you also speak Hainanese?
No, I only know how to say eat. Oh, our fish is going to fall. Our fish have arrived and they look delicious. And we're not even big consumers of fish and seafood, but these look excellent. And a curious fact is that these were almost 3 times more expensive than this one. The price was 153 yuan, while this giant fish only cost us 90. And that's because these are wild fish, while this one is farm raised. And they say it tastes much better when it's wild, but at the same time it's more expensive since it comes from deep water reefs, and its name is kaimei, which is a local fish. On the other hand, this one is called tigerfish, which the seller made very clear to us, and it's quite common. And the preparation method is also very interesting. It's known as qingdan, which translates as steamed.
Also, in this country, eating fish during this time is very meaningful because there's a Chinese proverb that says, Nian Nian Yu Yu, and that means that as long as you have fish to eat every year, you will always have abundance.
People rarely talk about how difficult it is to eat fish with chopsticks or with anything really. I don't know how people who eat fish often do it so skillfully, but Noelia knows a bit more about it.
This fish is really good.
This one's better and costs half as much. It also has the triple B.
It's just that this one actually has texture, the other one feels like mush.
Like mashed potatoes but without any flavor.
Let's see what's going on. What was that? Was it like the lion dance or the dragon dance? The fish dance?
That's odd. They only enter certain establishments and houses, not all of them.
Could it be that they hire them?
Maybe the one who paid.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
When a fish approaches you, it often means abundance is on its way.
Great way to get to know this town. Let's continue exploring. Happy Chinese New Year!
What's up? The time has come to get back on the road, and what better way to do it than in this wonderful place, which in China they call a supply point for cyclists traveling along the scenic route. Just look at what a beautiful recharge point this is. Right now we're still at Tanmen port, and before we hit the road we want to show you this place because it's amazing. You have to see it. Hello, how are you? Do you speak Spanish?
I think so, yeah.
How do you speak Spanish so well?
Because I lived in Spain 8 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What a pleasure. Which part of Spain?
Madrid. Where are you from?
From Mexico.
Mexico.
She was born in Barcelona. Why did they go to Spain?
He worked there. I've never been to Mexico.
Welcome whenever you want. That's your home there. We met a couple who lived in Spain for 8 years and who speak perfect Spanish, and I would have liked to introduce them to you more thoroughly, but we don't want to bother them either. They're on vacation and they have their little girl with them. What I can show you is this visual treat we have here. It's worth mentioning that Furfilupi found this place because even though Tanmen is an official stop, I had no idea this beautiful beach existed. And Noelia found it and we wanted to come here because we saw there were a couple of viral attractions. The first one is this boat-shaped cafe which doesn't have any special story or anything like that. But in China, any place that's photogenic ends up going viral. And that's why, right here in front, there's a huge line every day to take a video with this door.
This door is one of the most viral photos on Chinese Instagram. Look at the whole line people have to wait in just to take that photo or video they want. And not only that, but there are already some entrepreneurs here who offer a service where they lend you a drone and take your video or photo.
They charge 68 yuan for the video and you still have to wait in line. Where are you heading, little friends? To Africa?
To Argentina?
We're not going anywhere.
That they're not going anywhere. Another of the viral spots is the lighthouse that's on the other side, especially because it's right here where the boats leave from. And that's because the fish market is right at the entrance to the ocean.
That place where it looks like they're floating on the sea is actually a stone path that leads to that tower over there in the middle. But right now the tide was really high. It's much nicer to walk there when it goes down and the whole path is revealed. Right now I'd be scared to walk that whole distance covered by water.
But yesterday we had the chance to walk halfway and you can take really good pictures. In fact, a while ago there was a young man there posting the one of Jesus Christ. Being here, you'll probably realize that China has some spectacular beaches, many of them still untouched. And that's because China isn't known as a beach destination, especially since it competes with Southeast Asia, which for many decades has dominated the beach tourism scene. But China has a lot to offer, and this is just one of the many beaches on this island known as the Chinese Hawaii. And one of our most important stops is going to be in Sanya, which is famous for having the most beautiful beaches in the whole country. But we still have a long way to go for that. Goodbye. One more hotel.
Today we're going to travel about 35 kilometers along Boao, a small coastal town with 20 to 30,000 inhabitants and some very interesting places to visit. Among them is one of the narrowest sandbars in the world with one of the most beautiful views I've seen on the internet. Sandbars are long, narrow projections that separate two bodies of water. It's something very special, a natural phenomenon that I've never seen in my life. But without a doubt, I'm really excited because the photos on the internet were so beautiful that I thought they were fake. But, well, hands on the wheel because if not, we won't get there.
Before we start the day, we have to stop for breakfast, and fortunately there are still street stalls here because once we get on the road, unless you run into a traffic jam, yeah, it's hard to find anything.
I had seen food carts before, but I had never seen buffet carts or moving buffets, and honestly, there's no other way to describe this service. In this section, we have cuts of duck meat, here a pork stew, and the lady, who was very kind, told us she also has vegetables here, and honestly, we really need them.
It's been hard to find food along the way. Sometimes we have to stop at supermarkets and buy oatmeal. Other times, we end up in the middle of a town and ask people what's available to eat nearby. But sometimes we come across street food stalls, and this one looks interesting because it's from Inner Mongolia. Hello?
Hello, young man.
What are these, baozi?
Shao Mai.
What are they filled with?
With lamb.
How much do they cost?
24 yen for 3.
Okay, then I'll take an order.
Why don't you sit over there? It's a bit cooler there.
Okay, yes.
We'll bring you the food.
Okay. This will be our breakfast today, though it's more like lunch since we're running late after a live stream. The important thing is it looks really good. This little stand reminds me of the stewed tacos. Look, they put the rice in a plastic bag so it doesn't get messed up, so it doesn't get dirty. They have different types of vegetables that Noelia already showed you, and they serve it with soup. They even sell duck, which is very famous in Beijing, known as kaoya or Peking duck, Beijing roast duck. The duck here is really good, it's quite tasty. And we also ordered something else called shao mai. Inside it has lamb meat and also some soup, and you eat it with vinegar. Here they brought us the vinegar, so we have a good lunch.
We just arrived at the first official stop on today's route, and now we're in the town of Boao. It's small, but it has several very beautiful places that we're going to visit today. This here is the Boao Oriental Culture Park, which is supposed to be right next to the place where the Boao Forum for Asia is permanently held. A place where many politicians, international leaders, and businessmen gather to discuss important issues. Anyway, back to this place. It has nothing to do with business. It's a park with gardens where we can enjoy the local culture, a bit of the food, and a bit of the architecture. And also a bit of the religion that is most practiced in this area, which is mainly Buddhism. This park isn't old. It was built at the beginning of the year 2000. But what makes it very special is the fact that it's located in a coastal area. I'm really surprised to find such majestic and large places in little towns I've never even heard of before. And they're so tiny that you can't even see them on a map. Right in front of us, we already have the first temple. I think they call it the Palace of Heaven. Look at how people come to pay their respects and leave their offerings. We have everything here. Little fruits, apples, oranges, peanuts, sugary drinks, sodas. This statue right behind me is of the 5th Dragon King. He is one of the Dragon Kings who are especially worshipped in coastal areas, because these figures are connected to the sea, the rain, and weather conditions related to those elements. There are 4 Dragon Kings, and each of them is believed to control a different sea. I don't get why it says he's the 5th, since I read it's very common in parts of Hainan. I found it especially interesting to see that figure in that statue, because when I arrived in Tanmen, I did some research and it turns out there's a ritual called jihai. It's performed at the beginning of the fishing season so that fishermen can set out on their journeys with success, safety, abundance, and all those kinds of things. And in this ritual, the ones who are honored are precisely the goddess Matsu and the Dragon Kings.
It catches my attention that here they have Buddhist teachings, and they are very beautiful teachings regardless of the religion you practice. For example, here it says that one should not forget that food is valuable and should not be wasted. That you should remember how much effort it took to get it. That's a summary, not a literal translation. Here it says that you shouldn't forget the kindness that other people have shown you. It's a way to remind you that everything you are and everything you have in a way comes from other people who have been good to you. As a compass of faith, don't pay too much attention to the mistakes of others, because you also make mistakes. If someone deceives you, heaven will protect you. But just like these, there are a series of inscriptions that become teachings for visitors, regardless of the religion they practice. And that's why it's very nice to enter these temples. Besides the calm atmosphere you feel inside, the music they play, the smell of incense, the birds, It's something very beautiful and it makes you want to stay longer.
I think this temple behind me is the perfect setting to confess to you that I'm wearing plastic bags on my feet.
Again.
And that Max pedaled here in flip-flops.
My sneakers still haven't dried. Didn't you see the live stream we did from the last place? We went into the sea to rescue a bottle and then we wanted to climb a lighthouse and got our feet wet, so each of us had our own solutions. I hung my shoes on my bike and Noelia put on garbage bags.
Anyway, our shoes are already begging us to retire them. That's why we brought them on this trip. This is the crown jewel. It's what you see from out there and what draws so much attention. And also, do you know what's really cool about this place? That you see all the Chinese architecture, the Buddhist temples and palm trees all around. This one here is a pagoda called the Pagoda of 10,000 Buddhas.
Living in this country, you get used to seeing pagodas everywhere, but we rarely ask ourselves what they are, where they come from, or what their meaning is. But the truth is that these impressive structures have their origins in India. However, in that country they are known as stupas, and they are quite similar structures that the Chinese adapted to their local architecture more than 2,000 years ago. But after all this, what are they? Well, they are religious buildings. They normally contain Buddhist relics, and in some places it is even said that they contain remains of Buddha himself, or very important religious texts that are stored in the heart of the pagoda. And something very curious about pagodas in China is that they usually have an odd number of floors, because here it is believed that odd numbers are auspicious or bring good luck, since odd numbers represent the yang energy of yin-yang. And for some reason they see it as good luck. This is also very interesting because in Chinese popular culture, the most auspicious and most desired numbers by everyone are 6 and 8, which are even numbers. However, this is because the pronunciation of 8 in Chinese sounds a lot like the pronunciation of getting rich. That's because 8 is pronounced pa and getting rich is pronounced paze. In fact, this number is so desired that the Beijing Olympics in 2008 were held on August 8th at 8:08 post-meridium, which is basically the 8th of the 8th of 2008 at 8:08. But then, why is the number of pagodas odd? Well, that's because they're two completely different systems. 8 and 6 are part of popular culture, while odd numbers have to do with Buddhism, and not all Chinese people are Buddhists. But going back to the topic of pagodas, another interesting thing about these towers is that normally you'll see people walking around the tower in a clockwise direction. And that's because for people that's a type of meditation or a kind of prayer. It generates gongdae or purification of karma. That's why people hope that walking around will bring them good fortune. In fact, I remember that my brother's girlfriend once took us to a pagoda to walk around and make wishes. And we ended up offering incense and bowing to Buddha. And just like the number of floors in the pagoda, usually this number of rounds is odd. But it also depends on the area you go to, since in Tibet there are people who can spend hours and hours walking around. Because they're not just fulfilling the number for the day, but they're doing a certain amount for the rest of their lives. Anyway, there are many traditions like this, and these places are very beautiful, regardless of the deity you believe in, so I highly recommend making a stop at a place like this. And something else I wanted to mention is that if you look closely, there are always bells on the corners of the pagodas. These are wind chimes. And Buddhists believe that when the wind makes them ring, the sound purifies and at the same time attracts good fortune.
Do you know what else is cool about this pagoda?
What, Fur?
That one over there is the sand spit. It's one of the narrowest. It's not one of the longest, but it has some features that make it internationally famous.
And do we have to get there today?
Yes.
We should start walking around the pagoda and asking for energy. Congratulations, congratulations. I've never seen wedding photos taken at a temple before. Normally you see them at the beach or at really impressive tourist destinations, but I've never seen anything like this at a temple, and besides, her dress was really beautiful.
Hello, what are you selling?
Clams.
You sell seafood, right?
You're American, right?
Not at all. I'm Mexican.
Mexican? Wow, and how did you learn Chinese?
I've only learned a little bit.
Just a little? What about Hainanese?
I only know how to say eat.
Max is talking with the ladies and I'm in the background watching how they smashed a fish's head, Hainan things.
Fer, where did you take us? No one's here. You can see there are tourist carts, but they've been abandoned for years. Everything is closed. What are these little cabins that say Indonesia, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore? We've arrived at the stop that Noelia had prepared for us, and it turned out to be an extremely important place for the island with a very interesting history. And it turns out that this is the mansion of a very famous family in the area known as the Tsai family. Tsai, which interestingly the Chinese word for wealth is Tsai, which is pronounced fat Tsai, like wishing you to become rich. So they already had the last name in their favor. And this mansion is very important because it was built by one of the first Chinese families who returned from overseas. In fact, unlike the families we saw in Kaiping, where many returned from Europe, the United States, and even countries in Latin America like Mexico, the families who returned to this part of China came back from Southeast Asian countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and some others. And in the case of this family, they returned from Indonesia, where they made a great fortune in the rubber industry. In fact, it was the founder and his 3 brothers who, after amassing a great fortune, returned to Hainan Island. In the year 1934, when they built this beautiful mansion that was greatly admired by the locals. Just imagine, in a small village like this there wasn't much, and suddenly this family arrived and built here what must have been seen as a palace back then. And even today, it's still quite impressive, especially because of its architectural style, since it's a mix of local Chinese architecture with Southeast Asian architecture.
And from the colonies that existed back then, which were British and Dutch.
So it really stood out compared to everything around it, because you see the fishermen and local merchants only had small little houses. And suddenly this person arrives and builds his own lake, puts little boats there, and puts up a bunch of buildings for himself and his whole family. And they probably celebrated the town festivals here. Because when a Chinese person makes money, they tend to remember the place where they were born, because many times they receive support from their uncle, their grandfather, their great-uncle, and that's part of Chinese culture. That's something that hasn't changed much even to this day, especially in areas that are relatively remote or in rural areas. I've heard many stories about students who at the time are the brightest in the place where they live and become famous throughout the whole town, because of their potential to be able to get into one of the top universities in this country, such as Peking University or Fudan University in Shanghai. And when that happens, many times it's the town itself that supports them. Sometimes it's the family members, but sometimes there are even people who don't have any relationship or family ties who decide to contribute so that this person can make the trip to the big city and study, with the idea that one day they might come back and give back to the community or repay the favor in some way. And the same principle applies during weddings. Instead of a gift, you give a red envelope with money and people write your name down. They write down in a list how much money each person gave, and it's expected that when they get married you have to give them back that amount and a little more. Let's say that the Chinese operate under a principle of reciprocity, and surely for these millionaires it wasn't any different. 2 very interesting things. First, they don't charge for entry. They'll likely start charging soon since nearby areas are being developed. It's probably one of those old towns that are actually younger than Noelia, but for now there's no charge. Admission is completely free, and look, you can go into any corner of the house. And another interesting fact is that they couldn't enjoy this house for very long, since its construction was finished in 1934. And by 1937 the Japanese invaded the island, and these people had to flee back to Indonesia, so they abandoned this place.
How sad, isn't it? Working your whole life saying, I'm going to make money to return to my country.
You build your mansion.
Exactly.
You spend a large part of your fortune building it, and then it gets stolen from you.
Come on, let's see if we can get into the house.
Isn't that the house? The complex is huge, but the details on the roof, the railings are so beautiful. I read somewhere that they also have Roman-style columns. Yes, it's very different. And the thing is, a phenomenon that happens a lot in China is that suddenly you go to different cities and the architecture looks very similar. Even the designs of modern cities suddenly make you feel like you never left the province you were in. Especially when you travel to provinces that don't have ethnic minorities, because things change a lot if you go to Xinjiang or if you go to the south of China, for example in Yunnan, because there are many ethnic minorities there that do add a certain variety to the areas. But when you go to a place where only Han Chinese live, suddenly everything is very homogeneous. On the other hand, these buildings do have an interesting mix. For example, here we can see the door and the Chinese New Year decorations. They also have the classic lanterns that are put up during the festivities and the mandarin tree, which is considered to bring good luck here. But at the same time, if you look at the top part, there are different details. It looks like a classroom, or what could this be? They even built a school for the people. Maybe it's not open yet. Are they making a store, right? Yes. They're building a resort, right?
Correct.
Do they open in June?
Yes.
So we can't go in now?
No, young man.
Okay, and the owners of this place?
They're at their homes.
So they don't live here?
No, they live in Indonesia.
Does the family still own the house, or does the government now own it?
It's still theirs.
And do they come back occasionally?
That's right.
Oh, and do you know them?
Yes.
Now that I talked to the caretakers, they told me that the house still belongs to the Tsai family, but they don't live here anymore. Most of them stayed in Indonesia, which is where they made their fortune, and occasionally some of them come back here to check on how the place is being managed and so on. But now it's already going to be the 6th generation, and from what I understood, they have some kind of collaboration with the government to protect the historical value of this house, since it was designated as a historical heritage site of the town or the country. But that's interesting, isn't it? Because they still have possession or the property title of this mansion, but now it's managed by the government and they're turning it into a rural tourism project to boost the local economy.
That's cool.
It's interesting, and that's why there's so much construction around. Probably in about 2 or 3 years, this area is going to go viral on social media and you'll be able to say you saw it here first. We're leaving the mansion and I'm realizing that there are multiple entrances and exits. In fact, it's designed like a maze, since back then China wasn't as safe as it is today, especially in these areas where there was quite a bit of poverty. And when a family returned from abroad and built something like this, they automatically became a target, which is why they designed this mansion like a fortress, with multiple exits to escape in case of an emergency or an invasion. Unfortunately, in the end we know that because of the Japanese invasion they had to leave, but the house was well designed to protect them. Just so you know, this is the current state of the little plaza in front of the Tsai family's mansion in the year 2026. If anyone comes by here, please update us and let us know what happened. Otherwise, someday we'll have to come back to see what they built around here. For now, we have to keep going because it's already 5 in the afternoon and the sun is about to set. We still have to get to another place. I didn't manage to record it, but I was right behind Noelia when suddenly I saw her jacket fall off and start getting caught in the gears at the back of her bike, or whatever they're called. And suddenly the whole jacket got stuck in the chain, and luckily I managed to shout to Noelia, "Stop, stop, stop!" She stopped right away, or else I think something might have flown. And well, the chain came off and once again we needed her mechanical skills in the middle of the road. But again I think, what would have happened if it had happened to her on a downhill like the one we just passed in the middle of the road where there's no lane to do what we're doing? That's 2 out of 2 she's gotten away with.
Hi, where are you all from?
We're from Mexico and Spain. Where are you all from?
We're locals.
It's beautiful here. We need to turn now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, friends. Are you safe here? What a strange path. We're back in Coconut Forest. Do you agree it's not worth stopping at another coconut forest? We've already passed several. I'm not complaining. They're all beautiful. I'm just saying if you're going to see more up ahead. They even have a temple like this one. Why would you take a 5-kilometer detour to go to another coconut forest? Well, this one does go through a village, a real village. Good afternoon.
It says we should go to that street. What?
To this street? Oh, I'm not going up. Wow. How nice. Oh, wait. Let me help you.
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Yes, I can.
Yes, no. Today is not your day, allow me.
What a day, huh? Everything happened to me today, and that's not even counting when I didn't secure the camera properly and it fell. That was the start of the day.
We haven't even gone 30 kilometers yet. We've done 23, but since we've stopped a lot, it feels like more. However, we don't want to keep going today. I think wherever we get to, that's where we'll camp or something, because today Noelia is a danger. We need to reset the clock. This is the strangest route we've taken in the last few days. Oh man, let's hope we don't get a flat tire here. I feel like I'm unbalanced in the back. What's up with your route, Fur? Suddenly it went from the sea to the swamp. Now we're like in a pine forest. If it gets really bad, no, Fur, with this weight we can't get out. Hello?
If you're looking for the beach, it's to the right.
Ah, to the right? There are only fish farms there. It's 20 meters away. You can take your bicycle. Great, thank you. Let's see, well, they say there's another bike path over there, or that you can ride a bicycle. It's not normal. It's very beautiful. The thing is, I don't think you can ride a bike around here. Noelia, it's the same. There's no way.
You can't pedal around here.
Where can't you go? We want to get to the end of the beach.
You can't go this way.
Isn't there a way around?
Impossible. We can take you on an all-terrain vehicle.
I understand, but is there really no way to get there by bike?
No, and besides, you would still have to come back.
How much do you charge us?
100 yen.
Round trip for both of us?
Yes.
Well, but where would we leave the bikes?
Leave them here. I'll check them.
Alright, fine. Are you going to stay here?
Yes, I'll check them.
We're gonna leave our things with a buddy we just met because we trust China, but don't do this at home. We're going to leave our bikes, computers, drones there, and well, we put a lock on them, but that doesn't guarantee anything. Don't let us down, don't steal our stuff. I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're going, huh? Noelia never told me. She just said it's worth it, but I don't know if it's really worth going at night because the sun is already setting. And that's why they charged us less. I'd like to say I'm enjoying the view, but sand is getting in my eyes, I can't see anything, and they're burning.
Done.
Okay, thank you. What great service. No wonder they said there was no path. Seriously, there isn't one. They didn't lie to us, there really was no way to get here by bicycle. Both of them let themselves be recorded, so I imagine they don't have anything strange planned. Tell me, in Europe, would you trust your things to a boatman you just met? Would you leave your bicycle on a dirt road where there's not a single soul around? In China, I think it's possible. We'll confirm when I return.
But anyway, we're on the Sandbar. The place we're at right now is called Jade Belt Beach. Why a belt? Because this... where we're standing right now is considered a sandbar, which is a long, narrow strip that separates two bodies of water. So on this side, behind me, is the sea, the open sea, and on this side, over here, there's one of the most important rivers in the area. And that over there is where we were this morning. In fact, from here you can see the pagoda.
Ah, is that it?
Yes, do you see it? And all those hotels and buildings you see there are on islands that are part of this very unique geographical situation. If you look at it on a map, you'll actually see a sort of labyrinth of rivers and islands that ends with the Sandbar, which is where the river meets the sea.
I have to say, Furphy, you really outdid yourself. Maybe it was your day, and this was the cost to get us here. Do you have any idea? Today he dropped a camera, we have trash bags on our feet because our shoes got wet, he got sand in his eye.
I can't see 100%, my eye isn't working.
It's getting worse.
It's just that it's irritated.
Oh no.
Ouch.
We'll get water soon. Is the pain worse?
Since it keeps watering all the time, it's gotten really irritated. It's awful. In this place that I really wanted to come to, and today of all days, my eye just isn't holding up. Honestly, it's a shame we couldn't get here earlier so you could see the color of the water and everything in the sunlight. From here, when I got closer just now, it really did look pretty blue. They told us we can't go swimming because obviously the two currents meet here. But well, I'm happy just to have made it here.
And now we have to go back to see if our things are still there and figure out how to get back along that strange route in the dark. We still need to get out of here. I forgot about that. You can't see anything. This is how it looks with and without light. Fortunately, Noelia took care of buying these little lights. And look at the difference. Now you can see perfectly, at least enough to get out of here, but also enough to attract mosquitoes. Alright, well, we'll stop at the first village we see because we can't keep walking on the road like this. Look, someone's coming, someone's coming. Hello? Do you know any hotel around here?
Hotel? I've seen guest houses.
Whereabouts? Over there? Okay, so should we go that way, straight ahead?
I'll take you.
I'll follow you, come on, Fur. Look, we found a guide in the middle of nowhere. They saved us because you can't see anything. Again, we're in a place where there are no hotels, no lodging, absolutely nothing, and in China, not just anyone can host you, they have to have a license. So he's taking us to something known as Minsu, which are usually like Airbnbs, but they have permission to host foreigners. We don't know where it is or the price, but we have few options since we can't get back on the road. Let's see what happens. Where? This way? Yes, here.
We're almost there.
Ah.
Go down that street. Keep going straight here and turn right.
Understood. Alright, thank you, ma'am. Well, she already said she showed us the way. I thought she was going to take us all the way to the hotel, but I understand she's a busy woman. They told us that there should be a hotel across this bridge. Let's hope so, because I have no idea where we are. Oh yes, we made it. Thanks to the gentleman. Let's see if they'll let us stay, because in China they don't accept foreigners just anywhere. We're here to spend the night.
Alright, alright.
That sounds great.
Nah, don't go overboard.
I think he's a good singer. Ha ha ha, great guy. Hello boss, we want a room.
Big bed?
Yes, how much does it cost?
170 yuan.
Okay, we'll pay you right away. Thanks to the generosity of some interns, we made it to the hostel. It's perfect. And, well, the bad thing is that Noelia's eye is still in bad shape. And now we asked the guy at the hotel if he knew of any hospital, but he said there's nothing around here. So, how do you feel? Poor thing. But anyway, I think that's it for today's video. We'll continue the adventure soon and I'll update you on Noelia's condition. See you in the next video. Bye everyone.